the first point that we've got is obviously the lateral move, which I think, speaking for committee members in the room and the management team, came completely out of the blue. We weren't expecting it. We got no prior notice. I think we got an email 2 o'clock on the Friday, Craig, is that right? Embargoed until 3 o'clock. And the first we knew was when it had hit social media, because obviously we're all volunteers and we're at work and various other bits. We went through an appeal process. I felt the appeal was really strong. We articulated it really well. We had lots of contributions from people from around the area, noticeably the Westmoreland FA, Tim Farron, and we also had fans generating statistics on distances of travel, time of travel. We provided statistics on the risks of moving Kendal Town out of the North West Counties into the Northern League. Craig and I came off the appeal. We were both of the opinion that we'd done really well. We felt that the panel were on our side. They were asking the FA guy more pressing questions than they were asking us. And then to find out that it'd be unanimously rejected was a bit of a blow. However, it was the right thing to do to appeal. But I am a massive, massive blessings and a curse guy. So in tragedy, there's always opportunity. And although at the time we felt that the Northern League was a poor move for us, I think now we've got our heads around it. We've looked at the distances of travel, the time of travel. You know, Jimmy, Gav, and Twinny, and Heather and Lee have done a wonderful job of retaining the vast majority of the first team, which I'll let Jimmy talk about after me. And as much as I love the North West County, we're now going to get to go and visit 21 different football clubs, 2 of which are quite local, Carlisle and Penrith, and we're Kendal Town Football Club. We'll have fun no matter where we go. So I'm quite enthused by it. I'm very excited by the opportunity to go and play in a different league, and ultimately, as a result of what the lads have done with the first team, I think we've got a real opportunity to get promoted, which we are loosely told by the FA. If we were promoted out of the Northern League, we go into the NPL West, which gets us back to our natural geography. So my mentality is we've got a 1-year hit at this. If we're serious about getting back to the North West, if we're serious about getting promotion, then we as a group of people need to get serious about it, myself included. But ultimately, I don't want it to be too doom and gloom. The Northern League isn't the league that we initially wanted to be in. However, I'm almost certain that we can make a real good go of it and ultimately fight for promotion, which we would have been doing in the North West Counties.
Yeah, so obviously, with what Mike's just said, the summer's been a little bit, in terms of management and players and managing the football side of things, it has been challenging in terms of, I think the worst bit about it all, I think Gav will agree with me, it was actually not knowing. Because we didn't find out till 15 minutes before it was getting put out on the Friday, whatever date it was. And then obviously we had the period of uncertainty where we were going to do the appeal. I wasn't heavily involved in the appeal, but I did think that it was, we all thought, didn't we, that we'd done a good job, and we did do a good job. But I think the problem is, as we all know, it's the odds are stacked against you when you appeal against the FA. I don't think I'm saying anything untoward by doing that. So it's very difficult to approach players or speak to your existing players when you've not got anything to tell them. It's really like, well, it could be this and it could be that. What are your thoughts? And I think players are a funny breed at this time of year as well, a lot of them, aren't they? They don't like to nail the colours to the mast. So it was a case of, right, well, my mentality switched a little bit, thinking if we were going to be in the Northern League, I wanted to make sure that my first priority was to try and keep what I had. And then we were trying to line players up, and players are all different. We had players who said, I'll come if it's counties, but I won't if it's Northern League. Then we had a look at other players that we thought, well, they might come in if it is Northern League, and we had players who said they'll come if they come in, they'll come for the club and the players and the management, not a league. So, as we speak to press, we've made one signing, which I believe is a fantastic signing, in Niall Cowperthwaite, and he said to me straight from word go, I'm not bothered what league it's in. He said, I just want to come and win games of football. And he said, in non-league, if you want to get anywhere, you've got to travel. So I thought that rung true, really. So in terms of the squad at the moment, Gavel, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've lost 3. Is that right?
Yeah.
2 definites and one's a maybe, isn't it? I think at this stage, but he is going to go and train with somebody else. And on the whole, I think most of the rest of the squad have stayed, they're committed, which I think is testament to the club, it's testament to the management, and it's testament to the squad of players we've got. We've got a fantastic set of lads. One of the lads didn't want to leave. He's only been here a season, and he didn't want to leave, did he? He just said, I just can't do it on a Saturday because I coach. But he said, I love the lads, I'm gutted that I'm having to go. And look, in any season, I think it's not only natural, players will come and go. You know, you always need to keep putting one foot in front of the other, so whether we'd have been in the counties or whether they'd been in Northern League, we wanted to recruit, because we want to get better every year. But it has delayed the process in terms of signings, I'll not lie about that. There's lads who we had lined up who are now not coming. Because of the league that we're going into, but we're still discussing with players. As of, I had a discussion with a player at 5:30 on my own from work, and you've just got to sort of be patient because they don't say yes straight away, and they've got other clubs coming in for it. We're not. I think the mantra that we've got, we're not, because we've managed to keep most of the squad together, and we know we've got a good squad. We're sort of going for quality, not quantity. We don't want to just sign anybody who's not going to come in and improve us. Somebody's got to come in and push the players that are in them positions and raise the bar, really, if we can. And the lads that we're talking to at the moment will do that. Obvious't, the one we've got over at Lions, Niall, he's played in National League. Was it Conference North? Conference North, good player. Obviously been at Workington and Lancaster, and the other lads that we're talking to, if we can get them over the line, they'll be good assets and they'll improve the squad in areas that we feel we either need improvement or we need a bit more competition. But on the whole, squad-wise, I think most of the lads, other than the 3, and if anybody wants to ask me names on the ones that are staying, if it's your favourites or whatever, then I don't mind answering them questions. But as of now, we've only lost 3. The lads are all in training, and obviously we'll be putting a strong team out tomorrow night, coupled with 5 or 6 of the under-23s that have actually been training with us for the last 2 weeks. We've had 5 sessions, been quite heavy, hasn't it? We went Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, and then we'll be back in tomorrow night. Good opportunity for us, first 2 games. Caton's a good one. My friends down there, and they're good enough to let us train, and it's a good facility, so we like to start that pre-season off with a game down there, and then we'll go up to Dalton and play Andy Marshall's new team on Tuesday night, which will give us a good opportunity to look at everybody before we go into the blood and thunder of it of playing Morecambe and Carlisle. So at the moment we're in a good place with the squad. We still want to get a few over the line. We've got trialists in at the moment training with us who are doing well. But we want to look at them in a game. But I think generally we're quite comfortable with where we're at as a management team, aren't we? And to be fair, everybody knows, and we've seen it last year, the squad in itself is good. So keeping hold of the majority of them was the main thing. And then obviously if we can add to that, but it's only early in pre-season, we haven't even kicked a ball in competition yet. So things will probably accelerate quite quickly. But if you think that non-league's not like professional football, in some respects it is, and in some respects it isn't. It is quite cutthroat. A player will tell you he's coming one day, and then next day, oh, well, somebody else is roaming out. It's a bit of a nightmare at times, but it's just that's how the cookie crumbles, isn't it? You don't add to that.
Sometimes it's a little bit harder as well, isn't it? Because we start very early. Our league starts 27th of July. Some of the players we're looking at don't start till middle of August, so we've always got that to play with. But overall, we've always had over 20 lads at training for 5 sessions, so it shows the strength of the squad, including the under 23s and trialists as well as the first team. So we are in a very good position. Looking forward to Friday night.
I think at training we've had a good mix of existing players who played last year and have got a lot of experience. Under 23 players that have come through, Because I'm quite local, I came down to watch quite a lot of the games last year, and they impressed, did well, and they've come into training now, done well, and it's been quite competitive at training. They've added a good balance to the training as well, a bit of youth to our existing, so when we're trying to do the runs, we've got quite good legs on them. But yeah, we've got a good balance in the team, and most of the existing players have stayed, so onwards and upwards.
Okay, so quick committee update. I think those who were at presentation day will be aware that we unfortunately lost our club treasurer, Rebecca, who we'll publicly thank again, who's done a wonderful job. We will be putting something out in a few weeks, looking for somebody to come in and get involved on the financial side of the club, not having to physically put money in, but to help us with bookkeeping and to help us with a little bit of an admin. Not the biggest job. Dennis, have you got cramp?
No.
You want to apply for a job?
Yes, I am. Discussing with myself, but I was treasurer of another club locally, and I'm prepared to help if you need me.
Thank you very much, Dennis. We'll have a chat after. And although I think he does an absolute wonderful job, I've been asked to mention we need a new programme editor. Dan currently does all our social media plus programme editor, and although I'd selfishly love for him to actually do more, in order to keep Dan we probably need to get him doing less. So if anyone knows of a budding young journalist, a university student or even a college student that's keen to get involved in that side of the game, then we'd be keen to have a conversation. But yeah, that's the update. Regardless of the lateral move, I am pleased to announce that other than Rebecca, every other committee member is staying on, which was key for me because Kendal Town hasn't really had continuity for a long time, and I just feel like the team of people we've got now are kind of no longer firefighting but actually building. So it was key that we kept everyone. Losing Rebecca was a blow, but that wasn't to do with the lateral move. That's just where Rebecca is with her professional life at the minute. She hasn't got the time to dedicate to it. So pathways update. Really pleased that we've now got an under-18s team that's joining our 23s. They're actually training on the back pitch now behind the stadium. They're running their open training sessions. I think they've got about 30 odd players down. A lot of them play for the Westmoreland under-18s team, so the pedigree's high. We're busy trying to organise games for them against professional academies. We want all the best young players in this area to aspire to play for Kendal Town Football Club, and the only way we can do that is by providing a pathway. So this season we'll have an 18s, a 23s and a first team. Next season we're already planning to have a 16s, 18s, 23s and a first team. So that would give us 4 teams on the men's side and an absolute stellar pathway to get more players like Joe and Tom, the best of the best from the Kendal area playing in a Kendal shirt, and that's something that everyone on the committee is really passionate about. We've noticed a massive ripple in our attendances when we've had the likes of Tom, Joe, Bailey, Brandon, all representing the town, and as a capitalist at heart, I like it when we have big attendances because it means we can spend a little bit more money on the stadium. Quick women's update. Unfortunately, Chris Miller can't be with us tonight, but Chris, again, the women's team are going to go from strength to strength. They ran the Westmoreland FA Cup finalists, really close, in front of a bumper 600 crowd here, which was superb. And Chris tells me and wants me to update that the squad's looking even stronger again. So if you are free on Sundays and the women are at home, I would encourage you to come down and support. They're a really good side, and Chris Miller does a lot of really good work. Next one, Independent Sports Association. So Dennis, I actually had other plans for you, but that might change now. What we really need is we need a body of people away from the club who meet regularly, help with fundraising, have a voice, challenge the committee on certain topics, because we all need challenging in life, but ultimately report back to a wider audience about the things that the club are doing. I've sat in the background at Kendal for 8 years prior to being chairman and been critical of the lack of transparency, the lack of opportunity for people to get involved in the club, and I don't want to be accused of that myself. But the Independent Sports Association is a really tough one for the chairman to set up. It needs people coming forward. Dennis has previously voiced that he would like to be involved. We've got Rebecca, who wants to be the treasurer of the Independent Supporters Association, and we have Paul Pownell, who put his hand forward to get involved as well. But 3's not enough. So if people are interested in having a role within the club that's maybe not as formal as what some of us have, then I'd challenge you to put your hand up for the Independent Sports Association. Stadium update. So we've had a couple of ground tidies which have gone really well. The pitch is in good condition, as you can see. We're obviously doing a little bit of work prior to the Morecambe game on Saturday. When we're currently now in discussions with the Clark's Foundation, who own the stadium. I've today received the paperwork and the good news that they're very receptive to giving us a sizable grant, which we will ask for feedback off fans at some point. But for me, we really need to do something with the current changing rooms. They're not big enough for the league that we're in. We're going to have more teams wanting to use them next season when we've got the 18s at home. Although the 18s won't play every week on the pitch, they'll play behind the pitch, so they'll still need use of the dressing rooms. The women will need use of the dressing rooms. Obviously, the first team will use the dressing rooms. If you've not been in them, go down and have a little look, okay? And you'll see that there's so much good work goes on around here, but we need to do a little better in that area. Just waiting on the lease on the car park as well, which will then tidy up that situation, and we should be able to then maybe monetise that car park, and again, with the view of bringing more revenue into the club to help us repair things around the ground. And obviously the clubhouse needs some renovation and it needs some investment also. We're in the process of trying to move the kitchen, so I think when we had 160, 200 fans, the kitchen was fit for purpose in terms of its size, but unfortunately now we're enjoying crowds of 500, 600. It's just not big enough to tender that many people, so we are in the process of trying to solve that problem as well. So rest assured that there are always things that we're trying to do, not just to improve the fortunes of the first team, but to improve the fortunes of the club and ultimately build a community asset, because it's not just Kendal Town that enjoy using this stadium. We have Morecambe under-18s that use the pitch, not as often as you'd think, but we like to have a relationship with Morecambe Football Club, and we have the Westmoreland 18s that periodically play games here, and we host all the Junior Cup finals. So it's not just for the benefit of Kendal Town, it is for the benefit of the community. So last bit from me before we open it up to questions. What does the club need right now? Well, thankfully we've got a committed committee, we've got wonderful volunteers, we've got a really strong management team, we've got a really strong first team. As you can see, we've got 23s, 18s, women's teams. Everyone's doing everything they can for Kendal Town. But what we need more commercial. So if you know businesses that are interested in sponsorship, boards around the ground, we've got the sleeves and the shorts available for sponsorship. I'm speaking to a couple of companies at the moment. We need more bookings in this facility. Whenever we have a relatively good 30th, 40th, 50th function, the club does okay. I'm not going to say it makes us millions of pounds, but it helps us clear some bills. It helps us put a little bit of money back into facilities. We need to maintain attendances. I am greedy. I would like us to average more next season than we did this, but I'm also realistic that we did do exceptionally well. I think on a Saturday we were just shy of 500. That was rippled with our Tuesday attendances, which are always going to be lower. So the increased cost of travel next year we estimate to be £10,000, which is obviously a sizable amount of money. But in order to retain as many of the players as we could, we had to basically, and it's the right thing to do, by the way. We have to put away travel on for every game. So in the Northwest Counties, when we played some of the more local teams, the players might prefer to drive, especially on a Tuesday night. We're guaranteeing a bus at every game, so it is going to be £10,000 more. What we are going to do is we're going to launch kind of like a club social membership, which is going to be £25. Now that will give you a membership card that you'll then be able to use on match days at the bar, and it'll save you 10% on alcoholic or soft drinks. So although I agree if we put a Just Giving page out, that might bring the money in, but I'd actually like to give something back for that donation. So for a £25 donation, you can get yourself a little discount card, and I'm sure most people who come to games will save £25. So it then becomes a neutral transaction. But it's a great idea, and we've kind of tweaked it a little bit. And we're going to release details of that membership scheme possibly in the next week or so.
We're really aligned in our philosophy, aren't we? I think we'll know that we're going to find a different type of football in this league, and we're going to find different types of teams, as we have done in the counties. You know, there's some teams who like to get it down and play it, and there's some teams that like to be a little bit more direct with it. My teams, and I know Gav's on the same wavelength as me, which has been why it's been brilliant since he's come in. We want to play on the front foot. We want to play on the front foot. We want to play football. We are aware, in a realistic world, yeah, we conceded too many goals, and we weren't happy with the fact that we conceded that many goals, were we? And you could break them goals down into all sorts of different characteristics. Probably not always due to the fact of the way that we line the team up, or the way we want to play. But I enjoy my teams playing football, or I think it should be played. I enjoy watching players play football on front foot. I like players that get me off my seat and excite me. And I think that's obviously one of the reasons why we're getting more fans through the gate, because we're getting good games. We try and play the right way. It won't always work, of course. However, I think we score a lot of goals. We concede probably too many, but I think when you look at the team, we would like to get to the stage now where we talk about it in training a lot, don't we? When we're having a bad spell in a game, which happens to a lot of teams, I'd like to be a little bit more comfortable that we can see out that 15-20 minute period without getting any damage. And at times last season we felt that we were a little bit vulnerable. But like I say, Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's tough. So yeah, if we can improve sort of without the ball and be a little bit more solid, and then still give our forward players the platform to go and play off and go and hurt teams, I think that's the way we'd like to do it. And we'd like to be a little bit, you know, like I said, when we're not on top in a game, we need to be comfortable. You look at the top teams in this league last year, they'd come here, Wythenshawe Town, and we'd put them under cosh for 20 minutes, and we might miss an opportunity, or it might break down on that final pass, or we could hit the post, and you think, yeah, we're doing all right here, but they'd be in the game, they'd stay in the game. Whereas when we had our bad 20 minutes, we'd concede 1 or 2 goals, which is an area that we definitely want to improve on, isn't it? But what do you want to add to that?
Good question. Good facts as well. The top and bottom is we like to squeeze and play high, because then we want to play in the opposition's half. That's the top and bottom of it. And at times this year we've conceded goals in the break, but we've also conceded goals from set pieces where we've picked up second men. So it's not just the style of play we want to play with, but we've got a lot of attacking players to go and break to hurt teams, really. If you look at the Bury game at all, the keeper's made a great save after 5 minutes. We go 1-0 up, it's a different game. But our recruitment, you know, down the middle of the spine of our pitch has been a little bit different this year. Bringing Calps in with his experience, and you know, that'll be a great sign for us. We've got lads in trial listing at centre half at the moment who we're looking to be a little bit more agile. You know, the training sessions are looking more at speed and agility, you know, because we know what our weaknesses so we want to be more aggressive. I want them high up the pitch, and I want us to be able to turn quicker, and if they do put the ball behind, Cheats is there to clear it up. There's always areas to improve, but that's how we want to play. I'd rather win a game 4-3 than win it 1-0, and that's our philosophy, isn't it, really, a little bit. I know he sits there and we need to have a heart attack every other game because we want to play and win, but that's how sometimes it's like he says, I say like 10-15 minutes. Every team will have 10 to 15 minutes on top of a game. If we can shut it out for 10-15 minutes, we'll go and win the game majority of the time. You know, when we're on top and we go and win, Isle of Man's a prime example. We should have, if we score 2-0 games and buried. We don't, they score last kick game. That's how it is, that's football. But but we'll always play on the front foot. I'll still be shouting it this year as well, like get up the pitch. So yeah.
Right, one player's gone to train at a club 2 leagues higher than us to see how he gets on in pre-season. I'm not going to mention his name because he hasn't been announced at that club, and I don't think that'd be fair. The other 2 players that have left and have been announced are Dan Gray and Jacob Gregory, who have gone to Charnock Richard and AFC Blackpool respectively. Dan was the one that was struggling with the training on a Saturday. I think he changed the coaches till lunchtime, 12 o'clock, something like that. And it's going to sound very sort of cliche, but they're both great lads. And the other lad as well, to be fair, and we're gutted to lose all 3 of them. But you know, we're heavy into the recruitment side of things at the moment, and we've got good lads in training with us. Like I say, we've kept the existing ones. We've added one for now. I was hoping to have one here tonight to sign, but not quite over the line with that yet, but we're getting there. Speaking to another lad over the weekend, and we'll have a couple of trialists playing in the friendly tomorrow night along with the 23s and a good bunch of the existing players from last year. We'll be taking a squad of 19 down there tomorrow and giving them all a run out. So, I think things are looking quite bright. I think Martin's away at the moment, isn't he? But he is going to need an op on his meniscus. So once he's had that op, then I think he'll reevaluate his situation and what he's doing. So at the moment, he's not. Of course, he's in our plans. We'd love him back, but he's not in the short term going to be anywhere near. I don't think. Chris Mather has been waiting a long time to see the right people, and he's got good news. He's back doing he's in with Gareth Thomas at Chorley, Scholars Therapist, plugging him on YouTube here. He's a good guy, great guy. A lot of our lads have been to see him as well as our own physio. And he's doing his rehab with him at the moment, so we're hopeful that he'll be back pretty soon, if all goes well.
Just on behalf of the lads, it's just important to know that regardless of the fact that we've moved league, the lads are still going to give it 150% every week. And I think that's what the main worry was, really, was, I mean, there was murmurings between the boys, obviously when the leagues were getting changed, but we've got such a good group, the lads, we've got such good coaching staff, and the club's in the best place it's been in years. I've been here on and off for the last 6-7 years, and it's the best place it's ever been in my time here. And it's a testament to everyone here, because the boys who've left, it was not an easy decision for those boys that they didn't want to leave. Unfortunately, it was the league, but it speaks volumes of the lads who we've managed to keep so far. And it's just like, on behalf of us to the fans, that this season it doesn't matter that we've moved league, we're still going to give it 150%, and I'm confident that with the group that we've got and the signings that they're looking to make, that we will get out of this league next year. So it's a plea from us for you guys to keep up the support that you kept going on last year and carry it into this next season.